South Africa's unbeaten record against Australia in rugby championship matches here at Loftus Versfeld remains intact, and with an 8-point margin, they deny Australia a losing bonus point in this game. New Zealand already clear winners of the rugby championship, but South Africa victorious this evening, down to Owen and Kamani for the presentation.
Well, thank you so much, Matthew. Yes, final score at Loftus Versfeld, 18 points to 10. Joining me now is losing captain Stephen. You had your chances out there, just didn't go your way today, did it?
No, it didn't, mate. We had plenty of chances. Just the second half was a bit disappointing. We had some chances there, and we just couldn't hold on to the ball long enough. But well done to South Africa. They deserve the win.
Did the altitude really contribute at the end, because you felt it looked like you're running out of legs?
No, I think we're okay there. We trained hard during the week, and we felt like we were ready to play the full 80, so that's no excuse.
Well, hard luck and good luck going forward to the rest of the competition.
Can I just say, too, thanks to the Australian cricket side, I think they're up there somewhere, and all the best tomorrow, boys. We'll be out there watching. Cheers.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen. Once again, safe travels going forward, and good luck next week when you take on Argentina, England. Now, winning captain, Adrian, job well done. Back to winning well. It's good to see you smiling again.
Yeah, it's good to win, especially here at Loftus, and thanks to the Aussies for a very tough game. Just as tough as it was in Brisbane, but the only thing I actually can say is thank you to the support. We really needed it in the last couple of minutes with the tickets selling that quickly from Monday onwards. We're just thankful, and this was a team effort with the supporters. Thank you very much.
South Africa is very proud of you, the Springboks. I think we see it year in, year out, day after day. They back the box all the way. The scrums worked well, but what really impressed, I think, a lot of people was the defence.
The defence was a lot better. I think we still put ourselves under pressure in the second half. That first 15, 20 minutes felt like we put our defence under pressure. But, the guys were resilient and they stood up, so very proud of them as well.
Today, you're talking about your team. You got tested, Jaco Kriel playing out of position. I mean, what does that do for building of character for the team?
Yeah, Jaco, playing it at the wing, it's great. It's good to see, that it doesn't matter where you play him. His heart he's got a massive heart, and he just puts in everything every single game. So proud of him as well, and the guys adapted quite well to that. And yeah, the calling and everything went well, and the 5-lock and everyone adapted quite well to it.
Well, today the panel felt that you put in a heart, you led from the front, and you are Castle Lager man of the match. And for your efforts today, Adrian, courtesy of Castle Lager, Mr. Nick Schneider, General Manager of Castle Lager, will present you with your prize, the gold coin and the 3 litres of South Africa's favourite brew.
Right, certainly was a win that we all were hoping for in studio. That's what we got. Alistair Kusia said that he'll take a nightly win. It wasn't the prettiest, and statistically certainly a match that the Australians will be ruining. They had a lot of possession. They certainly were in the ascendancy insofar as dominance of possession and territory goes as well, Nick. And we just always seem to get out of trouble when they should have been looking at putting points on the board.
Well, I thought let's look at the positives for the Springboks. What the plan was that we would, that we'd have a goal kicker who could knock his penalties over, and the drop goals that Steyn got, 18 points. That was he's fulfilled what Alistair could see was expecting from him. But the territorial game didn't work, because we ended up at one point, I think it was 64% territory to Australia, 36% to South Africa. So we played a lot of the rugby in our half, and I think I can remember on 8 to 10 occasions when Australia were attacking in our 22, and a last-ditch turnover or a knock-on or a poor decision or a forward pass from Australia, but some good scramble defence from South Africa, some good determined scramble defence, turned the ball over in our 22. And I was just sitting wondering that if we give those opportunities next weekend to New Zealand, it's going to be a very difficult afternoon. So very happy with the win, and the team desperately needed it. It was what we expected playing away from home, but playing in Pretoria. But there are lots of things we can still work on.
Ashton, talk to me about the defence, because we have bemoaned the Springboks' defence of late. They looked to be better formed, just in terms of shape. But as Nick says, we did. We had to scramble pretty much throughout that 80 minutes.
We talk about how long a week is in rugby terms. But I think 2 weeks, you know, is obviously much longer. And if you look at the box and the defensive structure and system that was displayed today versus our last game against New Zealand, like literally night and day, the difference between the two. We were always in, the systems was there, next to the ruck, our lines, our shape, our speed, very aggressive of the lines. I think defensively, organizationally, structurally, much better, and I think much improved in the past 2 weeks since our last game.
But Ash, you know, yes, our scrambling was good, but let's be honest, there were plenty of holes within the inside channels.
Okay, so on that, I think our scrambling was very good and has been good all season long. Yeah. But it's the system, when we talk the system, organizational defensive system, we found that there was always a shape. There was guys on the inside, outside. We had a good, solid line. The guys went up very aggressively. So that's the first phase. Now, when that comes second phase, you find again go back into shape. So I think for me, the shape much improved since the last time. When we talk about the tackle errors and when they continued their phase play territorially, statistically, if you look at it, their possession, it shows that how dominant they were in keeping the ball. So third, fourth phases, we find that is when we only started looking vulnerable, whereas let us go back our last game. From the set pieces, one phase and they scored. I think it was twice or three times the All Blacks were able to expose us like that. So today, only after the fourth phase did our defensive system look vulnerable. So for me, that is much improved since the last game.
We'll talk All Blacks because, of course, they lie in wait for Durban, Brayton. Yep. And just a quick word on Wayne Barnes. And don't use any of the language that was used in the studio willy-nilly while the match was on. But he seemed to miss a lot and really went on in the business of hammering referees. But I don't know why he missed as many little forward passes and one or two odd decisions there.
Yeah, I must be honest, and I don't think we're biased when we say that, especially in the first half, a lot of 50-50 calls went against South Africa. Let's be honest about it. And when me and Nick were also talking about it and getting frustrated in studio, and I'm going to take out a few passes for you. And it's not all of them. I could have taken out about 4 or 5. And a lot of instances where Mr. Wayne Barnes missed a lot of, you know, sort of penalties especially from the box perspective, because the box were under pressure the whole game, and obviously when you defend all the time you're going to make mistakes. But Mr. Barnes missed a lot of forward passes. This one, for instance, guys, he didn't blow it, the box were under siege, and again that is half a meter forward. Ash?
Yeah, you can see it definitely forward there. So I think, you know, you're correct in saying that I think the Wallabies definitely got the better side from the ref in terms of a number of passes. We spoke about during halftime.
That's one he got right.
Yeah, definitely forward, and he blew it, and you know, rightfully so.
Even Strauss knew it was forward.
And then, Ash, again, this guy as well, you know, fortunately got it right.
That one.
He certainly got better as the game also went on, but at this level, as an international referee, you can't afford to miss those little instances, X.
Yeah, it certainly was frustrating to see, but there will be a lot of relief from Alistair Coetzee. I spoke about the intent to win, and in any which way it came. Joel Stransky is with Alistair Coetzee. Let's find out what the Springbok coach thinks. Joel?
Thanks very much, caller. Yes, I'm here with Alistair. And Alistair, more relieved than anything else, I'd imagine.
I suppose if you want to turn things around, it's a win that is needed, and this is exactly what we needed tonight. I must give credit to the players, you know, been massively under pressure in all departments of our game, you know, defensively especially, and we know the Australians are really a good attacking side, and they can take the ball through multiple phases, you know, with the inside ball, taking it to the line. We started off a bit shakily, but then we got it together and we put in a splendid defensive performance.
Yeah, I must say, I thought it was a little dodgy early on, but the guys certainly firmed it up as we went along. Any questions from the studio in Johannesburg before I ask my next one of Alistair?
Yeah, Joel, there's a little concern about the number of injuries that we saw, and obviously there was a 6-2 split. You lost all the backs. That must have been a little bit of concern, and going forward it will make selection very difficult, I would imagine.
So, Alice, the guys in the studio are really concerned about the injuries. Maybe you can give us an update on the injuries and maybe your thought process going forward?
Yeah, I think Peter Steff got a knock to his hip, so I suppose a bit of a hip pointer there. He should be fine. Rudy Page, obviously a bump to the head. He seems to be okay after the match. I spoke to him, he feels really good. But obviously he's got to go through a lot of the testing and the cognitive tests that he's got to undergo, and we'll see how he goes. I'm pleased in terms of our selection this week. I think it really, the experience there, Mona just controlling it better this week for us, and putting pressure with defence, turning it over at scrum time and set piece, and taking the points. That is typical test match rugby. We didn't look to have a lot of opportunities, but I think the penalties showed actually the pressure that we've applied.
And in particular at scrum time, you would have been delighted with the way the scrum substitutions came on and made such a big impact.
No, I am. I think, Julian hasn't had a lot of game time, but he applied him well with Kitsy, and Adrian Strauss was outstanding tonight as a captain and leader, and all credit to him, he's held the team together nicely, and, this victory is so important for the team going forward. Just a bit of self-belief and self-confidence, I think, with ball in hand. We lost it a wee bit on attack. I think the plan was to be more direct, and we went slightly a bit lateral across the field. But that's at least here some work on for next weekend.
Absolutely, certainly some work there. I know Braty's got a question for you in studio.
Joel, just tell the coach, we say thank you from the studio side and obviously the whole of South Africa, although it was tense at times. But ask the coach, will it be nice at least, after these couple of weeks to be able to at least sleep 2 hours tonight?
So Braty first says, what he didn't say is I must give you a hug, but he says thank you. And I think most importantly, it's probably a bit of relief for all of us, and you'll be able to get a good night's sleep tonight. 100%.
I think, you can take so many losses, but somehow you've got to steady the ship. And the only thing that can steady the ship is a win, and to get belief back. And I was pleased in the first half. We got the ball to the edges. We had opportunities out wide there, so there are a lot of positives on the attack as well. But just in general, the character in the side is immense. Loftus has really been outstanding, the crowd and the people, so it was really a great week for us.
Super. Well, congratulations, Alistair. Thanks very much for chatting.
Thanks, Joe.
And with that, we'll go back to caller in studio.
Thank you, Joe.
Right, thanks very much to Joel and to Alistair Coetzee. He will be a relieved man, and I suppose, Nick, you started greying at the time that you were Springbok coach. In fact, I don't think you've greyed anymore since you became
I really have, don't worry. I coached for a few years after that as well.
They played with heart, but unfortunately, looking ahead to next week, heart just might not be enough.
Yeah, I think that what we saw today was literally a desperate team that the win was everything that they were going for. So I wanted to ask a question there about territory, because if you have Morné Steyn in the side, presumably you also want to have territorial dominance, which we didn't get today. So I'm thinking that while he did kick the penalties and got the couple of drop goals, we actually spent 64% of this game in our own half, and that's pretty dangerous. It's dangerous if you're playing a fly half who's not well known for his attacking abilities, and you spend 64% in your own half. It doesn't really give you many opportunities to score tries. And if you look at the game today, when did we ever look like we were going to score a try? I don't think we did ever. We were taking our penalties, we took the drop goals, but we never looked in a situation where we could score a try. And a lot of the pleasure we got out of this game came from our ability to stem Australian attack. So it was the great play by De Jong and Lionel Mapu holding up their backline players, getting turnovers. It was Strauss playing by far the best game of his of the season so far as captain, and getting 2 or 3 turnovers and a couple of runs. And Lowe doing so well at the breakdown. Etzebeth's tackle. We were it was on our defensive work that we got a lot of pleasure today. On attack, I wouldn't agree with the coach saying that the attack was good. I don't think we ever looked like scoring, quite frankly.
Yep. Ash?
I think we have to put this performance into perspective. We want to say that the Boks were, we were under pressure and, we were lucky that we, I'm saying, let's go back. The All Blacks undoubtedly the best team in the world. The All Blacks against the Argentina at home. In the 60th minute, they make a turnover in their own 22. At the end of the game, it looks like the one, I would think, was a 40 or 20-point margin. The same with us. They get a turnover, they come, they counter, they kick the ball out, and they attack from there. The coach have made a selection change for this week with the focus to say, let's play the territorial game, because we saw how the Wallabies lost against England. We saw how we kicked against the Wallabies. Now, Morné Steyn, and correct to Nick's point, in terms of attacking, I mentioned that exact same point in the beginning of the build-up when I said Morné Steyn, Alton Yankees, fundamentally different players. Similarly, if you look at Rudy Page and Faf de Klerk. So we know that Morné Steyn is not going to be on the front foot taking the ball on, but let's give him his due and his credit today. Twice, he chipped the ball over the line of defense, and that ball bounced perfectly. That ball could have bounced right into his hands. Now, that ability, it shows you that, the focus there. So for me, I think from a defensive perspective, we were able to turn the ball over at crucial points in the game. Because why? Our structure was correct,
Right, well, let's go back to Loftus Versfeld, where Owen Gumane is standing by. Victor Matfield and Jean de Villiers are with him, and I know there'll be a lot of relief there. Victor and Jean specifically having been there as Springbok captains when things have gone wrong. So, Owen, I'm sure more than celebration and outright happiness, it's relief for you guys?
Not only us, Cole, I think everybody who was here who witnessed the, it's not even the comeback, but how they managed the game, South Africa. The tries were not coming. Morné Steyn stood up, kicked, and make sure we did well. A guy like Rudy Page, you guys talked about him. His first start, definitely used the opportunity. Jaco Kriel being put out on the wing. He put his heart out on the puck. So great all-round performance, huge improvement to what we saw when we were overseas. Gentlemen, what was your take on the game, John?
Yeah, a definite improvement. I don't think it's I don't think it's a performance that'll probably get us through next week against a quality side. But also I want to give credit to not only the team but also the Loftus faithful. The people that came out, and I don't think we must underestimate the impact that actually has on the team. So I've played here for the Springboks, I've also played here for the Stormers, and it's very different when you play for those teams.
Victor, your smile just says it all. It's like, how could you even doubt the people of Pretoria? How could you even doubt Loftus? Did you enjoy yourself today?
No, it's fantastic. I said it the whole week. We're back at Loftus. We're back in South Africa. So Springbok always play well in South Africa. Tonight again, I think there was only one thing that was important. We needed a win, and I think they got it. There was a lot of pressure on our line. Our defence stood up. Fantastic win for tonight.
Why is it that we can put a performance like this when we're under pressure? Both of you guys have been there, and the saying has been there for years, for donkey years. A wounded Springbok is a dangerous Springbok. Why do we have to get our backs against the wall, start performing?
Yeah, look, I think there's still a hell of a lot to work on. So we need to sort of take ourselves out of the win today and say, well, is it a performance that is sort of conducive for success over a long time period? And I don't think it is. So there was still a lot that we need to improve on the performance today. I think defensively we were scrappy at times. So we were brilliant at the breakdown, and we were able to get a lot of turnovers. And I think that's what sort of won us the game at the end of the day, is the ability to, when we were under attack here, to be able to turn the ball over and then relieve pressure. So still a hell of a lot to work on.
Yeah, just a question there, Owen. It was noticeable that in the second half, when the replacement front row came on, the two props came on, that we won a number of penalties there, and Wayne Barnes was giving us a lot of credit for our scrummaging. So in the first half, that wasn't the case. Do you think that was because of Kitshoff and Reddinghuis, the combination they have, or just that our replacements are better than Australia's replacements?
I think it's a combination. I think our guys are more, they played well in Super Rugby. I think it's the guys that have done exceptionally well coming off the bench. So, Nick, I think it was a good balance from a team selection point of view. We touched on it in terms of, on the build-up, that our bench is going to be crucial. We talked about it, Jean, at half-time, and I think Victor, our bench, really contributed.
Yes, those two props really did well. John and myself are actually sitting up there, waiting for them to come on. They're both very good scrummagers, and they're both very short, so they're very difficult to scrum against, and they really made a big difference. And
that's also what we want. You want an impact off the bench, and that's what we got today. So it's not as if the replacements came on and it was sort of iffy performances. They actually upped the intensity. They got us a couple of penalties at scrum time, and they actually had a massive impact in the game. And these days, it's a 23-man game. It's not just the 15 guys starting.
A question for you, Nick. I mean, you've touched on their performance. You've coached at the top level. how difficult will it be for a guy like Alistair to make a call? Do you start with these guys who've performed so well off the bench, or do you retain them on the bench? How do coaches make that decision?
Yeah, I think he's just going to be very relieved. That whole squad is going to be so relieved with this win. The 3 away losses, and then they've got they're sitting now with a home win against Australia. Everyone knows that New Zealand are probably in a class of their own, so they've got a really tough game next weekend. But going into that game with a win behind them is far better than going with a narrow loss. And we played well against, we played well in patches today. We took our opportunities well. I think the statistics say 99 tackles we made, but we missed 21 tackles. So I agree with Jean that I think it was our individual skills at the breakdown, the ability to turn over ball, and it wasn't just 1 or 2 players. We had Hooghart doing it, we had John de Jong trying, we had Kitsoff getting over the ball, and they were really, really efficient. So I think those guys must stay on the bench, come in off the bench, and this team should be given another opportunity next weekend.
Well, I didn't chat to you before the game. What was your take on the ref's performance?
Yeah, you always throw that one to me. And in fact, we've already mentioned Wayne Barnes and the couple of misses that he had. And unfortunately, not too many pleasant things were said in the studio, Owen Gumane. Let's hope that it's a once off. But, guys, just in terms of the technicality of selecting a team, a 23, we saw the risks today of going with a 6-2 split.
Yeah.
You've only got 2 backs to cover absolutely every other position on the field. Ashwin, I mean, we had Hoki start on the wing, and yes, knowing that he can cover 9 and he had to step in there. But once there were more than 2 injuries, big problems. And I understand you kind of need to have a fresh pack almost come on to the second for the second half, and we knew that's where we would try and dominate the Australians. But the risk certainly told today.
Well, in that instance, you're happy that you got the likes of Jakob Kriel that can go play on the wing from the flank, But on a more serious note, I think, Kola, unfortunately, you can't predict when you're going to have like a number of injuries is what we've had today. And the selection shows the coach is focused on forward-dominated, laying the foundation for the backline players. And, if we look at the selection, the way only 2 backs on the bench, there's not, if the focus is to get the forwards to do the hard work, lay the foundations and let the backs run, that's a good one. But if you've got injuries, that's unfortunately the other side of it.
Brace, it also means that for next week, there are a couple of guys who probably won't be in the reckoning. So we've gotten together a team that's finally managed to get over the final hurdle and get the win that we were crying for. And let's put it in perspective. We were sort of thinking that 5-point margin. Yeah. We got 8, so we should ultimately be happy. But it's going to make it very, very difficult to choose for next week.
Yeah, it will be difficult. And before I go into those 2 players who made such a massive impact, I want to ask Nick. Yes, Morné Steyn did what he needed to do today. He got us over the line, getting that victory. Would you maybe consider a guy like Elton for next week's game? Because we all know the All Blacks are a different threat. In playing, the way we played tonight, there's no way we'll beat them.
I think the one issue is that it looks like Rudy Page is going to have a concussion issue, and you've also got Kriel out, Jesse Kriel. So I thought the centre pairing did well when they were off. The fly-off position is such a difficult one to call because Elton has not been playing well given the game plan that he's been asked to play by Alistair Coetzee. Given the game plan that Alistair Coetzee asked Morné Steyn to play, he did what he was asked to do, which was to kick his penalties. I think he missed 1 from 60 metres, but otherwise he was very accurate. So going against, I don't think either of them are particularly good defensively. Either of them I don't think are as good as Lambie or as Pollard, for example. But I do think that they're very different on attack, as Ashwin has alluded to. He said that there's no, Elton is a guy who, as soon as he gets the ball on the front foot, he's taking it to the line, he's engaging defenders, and he's playing players around him, and he's very dangerous. Whereas Morné finds it difficult to play that flat game. So it all depends on what attitude we're going to have to go. Are we going to try and reduce the score, keep the score down, maybe try and win a close fight in greasy conditions against the All Blacks? We need a goal kicker who's going to be 100% successful there. That's maybe why they'll probably stick with Morné.
And then, Ash, getting into the business, guys, these 2 guys today, they have been sort of under a lot of criticism, but it's good to see that, you know, they had the character to bounce back and put up massive performances for us, Ash. Adrian Strauss today, I don't know what he had for breakfast this morning, but he was a man who was, he was possessed.
he had the same which he had against the game against the All Blacks, and he continued on that, and that's what we all, you know, were asking for, that the captain delivers this inspirational performances that we've seen him in the past 2 games that he's done for the Boks. Today, what made him so, you know, exceptional in my, and I think well-deserved of man of the match, was, if you look at the breakdown, he was there, he was competitive, he made crucial turnovers. Defensively, he worked hard across the park, and he also carried the ball. But over and above that, let's go to scrum time, line out. He did his basics, found the jumpers, hooked the ball, and his leadership, the decision-making. I think he had an all-round outstanding performance, and again, what a man of the match performance, especially in light of you've got the likes of Morné Steyn that have scored all the points and really also played very well. And to have him winning the man of the match award, I think, well done and well deserved.
Nick, it was finally great to see Adrian in this kind of mood.
Well, this is how I remembered him playing last year. You know, when he was a bit younger, he was always at the source of breakdowns. He was outstanding with the ball in hand. His tight phase work has always been good. It was argued not quite as good as Bismarck du Plessis, but he was always someone who always came onto the field. You know, he never didn't play 30 minutes, or he started and Bismarck played 30 minutes. But this year, for some reason, I don't know if it was post the Bulls tournament, but he didn't. I mean, to be absolutely honest, he didn't play particularly well in those Ireland tests and against Argentina. So I think being back in South Africa, particularly being back in Pretoria, was fantastic. And also, there's no doubt, playing against Australia is a hell of a lot easier than playing against New Zealand. So he was very good against New Zealand while he was on the field, yes. But he unfortunately went off with I think, a bruised ribs or whatever it was, and he wasn't able to continue. But I'm very, very happy for him, because there's nothing better than your captain performing well. The whole team then, you know, is prepared to listen to you and follow you after that.
Well, it's certainly good to know that our captain is going to take a lot of confidence into that game for next week against the All Blacks. Francois Louw, guys, again, under criticism, Nick and Ash, but this man today, he was everywhere, really, really, you know, spoiling the ball in the breakdown for the Aussies and stealing of crucial ones.
Absolutely. 2 minutes on they'd run this ball virtually out of their own half. And there he was. The first turnover penalty was Francois Louw. His decision-making here was very good. A second player in. He has the ability, look at that. That's an absolutely brilliant steal on attack. We should have made a bit more of that. I think, I'm just saying, but the All Blacks always make 2 passes after a turnover. They never pick and drive after a turnover. So to get, I think what Itzebus should have done there is, when the turnover came to him, 1 pass to 10, another pass, and let's have a look what's in front of us, because all the pressure is around the breakdown. And if you have a pick and go, or you give it to a forward who takes the contact again, it allows the opposition time to reset. Here's another great turnover. I mean, 3 big turnovers in this game, and that was absolutely vital.
Ash, Oupa Mahoja, he also played so well, you know, before he went off. But going forward as well, do you think at some stage maybe a guy like Jaco Kriel and Flo will start together?
Well, you know, yeah, if you look at Francois Louw and his performance as part of the starting loose forward trio, it was well, because you saw that both Oupa Mahoja as well as Warren White, they did their job and he did his job. So I think the combination worked. You know, when they're both on the field, they're both open side flankers. So then, you know, will the combination then work for them? I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Right, 3 matches remain in the Castle Lager Rugby Championship. The next will be later tonight, and you'll be able to catch myself and a couple of other guys from 20 to 12. Tonight, Brayton will be here as well, so we're going to stay up and probably rewatch that Springbok match. Kickoff, I think, is 10 minutes past midnight, so certainly will be an exciting one for all of you night owls. And don't forget the big one. It's 2 down, 1 to go in this super weekend of South Africa versus Australia. Rugby and cricket, they won the first one, and let's hope that they can win the second as well. That will be from the Bull Ring. Looking forward to that one. You'll be able to catch it from 9:30 in the morning. That's when the build-up begins. Thank you very much for all the tweets. Just very, very quickly, guys, looking ahead to next week, is there any chance that we could make perhaps the right decisions that would maybe not just even minimize the damage, but could sneak us something?
Well, absolutely. I think that if we're playing at home, it always is a big advantage. Also, remember, New Zealand have travelled to Argentina, are coming halfway around the world again. They've already won the competition, so this game isn't, it's really, they're just playing for the record. So we have got a good chance against them.
Ash?
I'm happy with the performance. I think the team played well. The question is for me, the injured players and for next week. And the coach's selection, I think he showed today. He selected a team that can beat the Wallabies at home. So we must trust that next week he will do the same and select a team that he believes can beat the All Blacks at home.
Well, Brayton will certainly be looking closer at the All Blacks a little later tonight, and he'll be able to give us a better indication of what Springboks can expect to meet next weekend in Durban at Growth Point Kings Park. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and well done, the Springboks. It certainly was difficult, but they pulled through.